Hey guys, and today we've got round 5 of the ARL Iracing Izod Indycar Championship from the road course here at Twin Ring Montegi. 30 laps of the fixed setup, and that is gonna cause total mayhem here tonight, I'm sure. So, welcome one and all. Obviously, Twin Ring Montegi, most of these guys would have known from the console side. Obviously it was in Forza 2 as a DLC, and I believe in Forza 3 and 4 it's been like a standard track, sorry. So the guys on the Xbox side should have quite a nice knowledge of the track, such as Darren and people like that. However, I'm not quite sure if it's in Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 3 side, so that's going to be very interesting for them, just to see what they can come up with here. And as a sorry about that, I was just having a bit of a moneybags, just a bit curious about the live stream. Obviously for today's race we're not actually live streaming it, although I'm recording the commentary and I'm going to put it up on YouTube for you guys to listen to tomorrow or whenever. And so yeah, a couple of hours ago I had a little look at the track, just did 2 or 3 laps, and I was getting a 1 minute 42, so you can just see the comparison lap here. Obviously nowhere near the pace of AC there. Got a 1 minute 37.7, which is a very good time. Obviously he is an accomplished driver, not just in the IndyCar, but also in the other series, such as the F1 car, which obviously he's going to be practicing on quite a lot in the upcoming months. I'll obviously get into that a bit more in depth later, but yeah, he's looking to expand. Let's just keep it at that for now. So yeah, I was in the practice session, and obviously it's a fixed setup, and the guys were having such problems with it. Obviously there's quite a lot of mid-corner understeer, loads of oversteer when putting the power down too early, and it's just not too nice to drive, although the lap times I wouldn't have thought would be too separated. But it's all about kind of keeping the speed going through the corners with as little throttle input as possible, because obviously you want to keep the load down on the tyres, and by kind of lifting off without braking or accelerating you can achieve that. And obviously this is quite a recent track to iRacing. It's got a night configuration, but I'm not quite sure why we're running that and not this. So let's just have a little look at the standings. Alex Simpson's leading the championship at the moment. He's only got the 1 win, I believe, but he's still up there. So obviously with the drop rounds and things, if he can get a good result here, then I'm sure that'll be on the cards for him to win the championship. Although last round out there was quite an issue with drivers because of the football match, the England versus Italy football match. So that's obviously why he's possibly not taking anything away from AC, but some of his main competitors weren't actually in that race. I know Kumo was, but I think that's about it. So looking a bit further down, the results are very close between everyone. Obviously that was the intention with the point system and the bonus and penalty points, to kind of give a bonus, give a praise to the people that get pole position, keep the race clean for the whole duration, things like that. And that's just kept the field a lot closer, because no one's really wanting to kind of go for it 110%, although everyone is, I'm sure, pushing his maximum as they possibly can. And let's just switch over and join the quali session here. So we've just finished qualifying, and we've got Simuli Kumo on pole. Obviously in practice he was astonishingly quick. Even on the long tyre runs he was lapping the same times as some of the other guys were doing on their kind of hot laps. And Jaron Gandersville, hope I've said that right, but I think he was third in practice and obviously second in qualifying, so he's up there, and he should be challenging for the victory. I know in a couple of the earlier rounds he had the pace to challenge, so obviously getting back here, getting back in the action after that week or so out where he didn't race in Barber last time, hasn't kind of derailed his championship hopes, with Jody Mills bringing up the last podium position. He's going to be chuffed to have out-qualified his teammate there, or say teammate, as I say, we'll get back into that a bit later. And I think I'm just having a little bit of issues with the thing, so let me just give the overlay. There we go. As the guys just prepare to go on their pace lap. So it's just the one lap on the pace car here, although it might be less than that. I think they're starting 3/4 of the way around the track, so the pace car is probably going to pull in as soon as they go into the pits, and then that'll be us gone green. So yeah, apologies again for any of the races. I've run trade and paints, but obviously it doesn't change the skins if you've already joined it while I was in the session already. So apologies if anyone hasn't got their preferred skin, but I'm sure I'll be able to keep up. There's quite a lot of action back there. Not sure who that was, just under caution there, under the pace car, but that has ruined those guys' battle. That's a 68 car, I believe, and that is not good for him. So Jaren's just been past there, and he's down into third. Obviously Jody Mills there managed to get past. Very good overtake from him. As I was saying earlier, he's taken part in this ARL kind of pro driver charge for 2013. So he's going to be wanting to put a strong performance in just to show how good he is. And it's working very well at the moment, because he's outpacing the supposedly more veteran AC. The AC has dropped down there quite a long way. So let's just get the ticker up. Kumo leading, Jody Mills second, Joan third, and AC fourth, Sasso Prosen fifth, and John Monroe sixth. So it's the predicted names that'll be up there, but perhaps only the predicted order. But Simuli Kumo is absolutely flying. The back end of that car is just going exactly where he wants it. But that is a great camera shot going in. Oh, who's that in the background there, just getting a little wide? That's perhaps going to get his tyres a little bit dirty, lose a bit of grip for a couple of corners. Although I'm sure that's not a bigger issue as it is in some other kind of simulation games such as F1 2011 and Gran Turismo. Well, a little bit of a blink there from Kumo. He's going to be a little bit cautious about that. Obviously, if he does that too much, the game might actually throw him out without warning. So let's just get on board with the most exciting, and that's the 27 car of Simuli Kumo. The field's strung out very well. Single file, although that's the 21 car of John Monroe, all over the back of Sasso Prosen. Any single mistake and he's going to just be up the inside. but not sure if everyone's getting caught up behind the 5 car of Alex Simpson, but I wouldn't have thought so, because his pace all during the week has been up there, so I'm not sure what's happened between kind of halfway through practice and now, but whatever it is, it's kind of destroying his race, because he's gonna be wanting to push on really quickly to catch up with the leader. Obviously, the Twin Ring Montegi, most famously known for the not very banked 2.9 kilometre oval, where they usually do the real life IndyCar races. Although last year due to obviously the earthquake in Japan, there was quite a lot of damage caused to the oval track, so the organisers had to resort back to the road course, and that produced some very good racing. Obviously in the past we've had some great winners here as well, the late great Dan Weldon and Danica Patrick. So any of these drivers and all of these drivers are going to be wanting to get this one on the board, because it is kind of a prestigious race. Obviously not up there with the likes of Monaco and places like that from the Formula 1 calendar, but in terms of the IndyCar championship, this is one of the kind of showpiece races. Obviously the only race done in Japan for the IndyCars. Not too much happening on the track at the moment, just spreading out. Everyone seems to be where their kind of pace seems to be. Let's just see if we can get a look down towards Darren, because obviously he has joined us for this race. Not much practice. I think he joined with about 20 minutes left of practice, but he's lapping around there. I think he was one of the people to get caught up in the accident before the pace car came in, which has kind of destroyed any attempts that he's got. But he's just going to be wanting to kind of have a little bit of fun. I don't think he's paying too much attention to the championship. Just see how that goes. But as long as you have fun, I guess. All in the middle of nowhere at the moment. So let's just jump back with the most exciting, which, as ever, is Sasso Prosen, because this battle is going to heat up, especially in the pit stop phase. Again, similar to last event out in Barber, we've had to move the start time of this race forward by a couple of hours due to the football. Obviously that's the final of the Euros, so not many people are going to be wanting to miss that. Though, as we said in the trucks commentary, get your priorities right, guys, because you can't kind of miss this. Obviously with the rookies we've got the Thursday and the Saturday race, so it doesn't matter too much if you miss one, so you can do the other. But with these and the V8s and the trucks, you've only got the one go at each track, so if you miss it, and that's points going out the window. Obviously you got the 2 drop rounds, but still you could have got a good result possibly. Let's see the 21 car drumming the road, just closing right up on the back of Sasso Prosen there. Or he has a little look into turn 1 but backs out, maybe just kind of scoping it out. I know in the 120 minutes of Thunder race last night, which I think quite a lot of guys from ARL took part. I know Woody did. I think he did it in the DP, finished second, so that's very good. Took it with about 5 laps to go. Dean Prescott, unfortunately, I believe he had an early crash in that 120 minute race, which was an absolute cracker. Mawson, obviously not racing today because he hasn't had enough practice, but he's in the session as always, just being the race admin. As you can see, Russell Peterson there, just going very wide onto the asphalt there. With Sasso Prosen all over. Let's just see if we can switch back to that, because that is some great action there. And it looks like John Monroe's got the job done. Sorry about that, sorry for missing that, guys, but it looks like he's done it around the inside. And now he's just going to be wanting to kind of build that gap and stay that second or so away from Sasso, because anything can happen with these cars. When you're getting the power down, as I said, I did a couple of laps earlier, and when you get the power down, if you do it too early, because of the 7 or so first gear corners on the track, the car can become very, very oversteery if you power on too quickly. But it looks like John Monroe's got it sorted for now, so let's just switch back to the most exciting, which is Jeroen Gansevold, who's doing a stormer of a race. Obviously dropped back from his second place, but that's still a good result, third place. And you never know, we've still got 24 laps, anything can happen. But I just love that shot through there, because you can see how much the brakes are being worked around here. His Sasso goes a little bit wider. Obviously there was a late call for this race. It was going to be Alton Park, but let's just get back there. I'm not sure what's happened to John Monroe, but he has lost a whole heap of places. Let's just see if we can get a replay of that, because that's the sort of action you don't really want to miss. Hopefully this will be far enough back. It looks like he just got tagged there by the 55 car, Russell Cleason, and perhaps that's got some aero damage now. But obviously you're not going to want to pick, because it didn't look like it was too much. And perhaps it was an incident earlier on that I missed in the replay there, because he seemed to be going slow before that anyway, and now he's dropped way down to 15th position, so that's not very good for him. As you can see, Russell all over the back of the 99 car of Sasso Prosen. So it looks like they've just kind of totally swapped, with Russell staying in the middle of the two. So yeah, just getting back to the 120 minutes of thunder done by Inside Sim Racing, I believe, kind of in conjunction with Iracing. Tim Mawson did a blinder of a race up to about quarter of the way through, so about lap 25 or so, where his computer crashed. So I believe he was battling for first, or at least he said he had the pace for first. He could have won that, and he felt very aggrieved that he didn't win it, because he totally had the pace in the caddy. And I was pretty happy with it myself, because I managed to get a win in my split in the DP. Obviously that was only split 8, but a win's a win. I'll take that. I'm not sure any of these guys will in this race today. That record around here is a 1 minute 35.591. See, these guys are quite far off of that in the IndyCar, just because they've got no downforce, you know. Obviously it doesn't help with it being such a low speed corner and track, but the mechanical grip doesn't seem to be too great either. Perhaps that's, obviously you can see from that shot there, the rear tyres are massive, so you can get the traction out of the corners, but the front tyres are really quite narrow, so you can't really have that mid-corner grip that you perhaps could in a Formula 1 car, or even a touring car possibly. As Jaron just gets a little bit wide on the curb there, and that gives Alex Simpson perhaps a little run around, or at least gives them a little bit of confidence knowing that Jaron's made that mistake. He might make some more mistakes in the future. I think AC said he was going for a one-stopper here, so perhaps that's why he's going Obviously these guys aren't slow, but comparatively he's going very, very slow compared to the leader. And there's the field's kind of split up into 3 or 4 packs at the moment, with Kumo just dominating the field, like we saw with the AC last round out. But he's a good 10 or so seconds in front of second, I would have thought, and that's the kind of dominating performance that we're used to seeing. Obviously, great race that he did at Spa. Not so great last time out at Barber, but he didn't seem to kind of have the pace from when he started, whereas today, within a couple of laps, he was right up to pace. But it's not going too bad for any of the guys, I wouldn't have thought. Obviously, Darren will be a bit disappointed, running all the way down in 11th, but as I said earlier, he's just wanting to have a little bit of fun, and obviously he'll be in his team chat, in the Apex Racing UK chat, just having a little bit of banter, because that's all you can really do at the moment. If you focus too much, you're going to get bored really, really early. As we reach the kind of third of the race here, not too much action so far, but obviously the pit stops should be coming up in the next 10-15 laps, I would have thought, and that's going to spice it up. As you can see, John there gets a very, very bad exit, and it looks like AC has got his rhythm now. He's right on the back of him. Perhaps you take him into turn 1. Also, I know, looking at the onboard lap earlier, AC's got a slightly different line around turn 1, so perhaps that might pay off now, just because he'll have that extra bit of knowledge of where the grip is on the track. But the race is certainly coming around to him now. As you just saw in the background there, Samuli Kumo just going around turns 1 and 2 as these guys are coming off the last turn. So if he can get past Jeren, he can perhaps start pushing it, do some quali lap times, and see what pans out. Because AC's been up there all of the races so far. He's been quite fortunate in a couple of them, but I think his worst result's 5th, which is hardly disappointing, to be honest. Obviously that'll be a drop round for him. So let's just have a little rundown of the standings as we reach lap 10. Samuli Kumo first, Ganzvold, I hope I pronounced that right, is second, Simpson third, Monroe fourth. So as I've been chatting about this battle for second and third, obviously John Monroe has nailed Guido Mora and Sussa Prosen, and he's got past them both, and has built a 5 or so second gap to Guido Mora, so that's very, very good from him. I would love to see the replay of that sometime. Perhaps at the end of this I will manage to grab that with Aaron Mullen. I haven't said too much about him, but he was saying he was confident coming into the race. I know his practice times weren't overly amazing. I think he got a 1 minute 41, perhaps a 1 minute 40, like a very, very high 1 minute 40, but which is very good. You know, possibly get away with top split racing with that time, but compared to the guys in front, he's a couple of seconds off. But perhaps this confidence isn't in the 1 lap quali run, but more in the long distance, hauling the car around with knackered tyres kind of phase of the race here. And Jamie Byrne in 8th and Eric Davis 9th, Jody Mills in 10th, so that's gone disastrously wrong for him. He started in front of AC and was obviously looking to kind of beat his competitor here today, but that's not happening, with Darren Kirk 11th and Andrew Woodhouse 12th. Obviously Darren and Woodhouse are teammates, so that'll be interesting. As good as Mora's passed there, got past Sasa Prosen. That's a very, very good overtake around the outside. and it doesn't look like Sassu's got anything to come back at him. Perhaps he pushed too early, he had the tyres up, and now he's paying for that. As it always gonna have a little dive at the inside, but very nice driving from these guys, but that is very, very slow. As Sasso Prosen gets by, not sure why the car behind him slowed down so much there. Obviously he was on the outside, so he could have just powered away there and got the job kind of done and got himself back up to where he was before the corner. You see a little aero damage on the back of Aaron's car. Perhaps it was that collision at the first lap behind the pace car, but he's getting challenged here very, very much by the 8th place of is Jamie Byrne. So very surprising to see kind of an ARL veteran, obviously he did season 1, doing so bad in this race, but it's definitely that rear wing. Although Jamie Byrne seems to have a little bit of front right wing damage as well, so perhaps it's kind of an equal race now because of the guys who've got totally different battered up cars. But I'd rather be in Byrne's car at the moment because it just looks a lot more stable. Obviously if you lose your front wing or any damage to that, that's just understeer, whereas if you lose your rear wing, that's uncontrollable oversteer, especially on the high speed corners such as this coming up, where although it's first gear, it is still relatively high speed with the long gear ratios we're running. So let's just see if there's any more action on the track. With Kumo there being perhaps slowed down by Andrew Woodhouse there, I believe. Teammates with AC, perhaps this could work out. If we can kind of keep him on his tails, then he can cut a couple of seconds off, but that's gone horribly wrong for Woody there, totally outbraked himself. Perhaps obviously we know Woody's a very gentleman racer, and perhaps he did that on purpose, but it's not going to help his incident count getting those off tracks like that. But yeah, Kumo's just starting to get in the action now, not with any of his rivals, but with the lap traffic. And he's coming on the back of another car here, so obviously he's got some serious pace. I believe that's Darren in the kind of, almost looks like that's kind of a McLaren at some angles, like a red McLaren, which looks pretty sweet. But running wide there, and now that should be interesting. Woodhouse versus Darren Kirk, and Darren Kirk loses it. Shouldn't have said anything, that's the commentator's curse there, but let's just hope he can drive that thing back to the pits, because that is disappointing for him. And he spun it around, and it looks like he's only got a little bit of front damage. Obviously they got the one fast toe here, I believe, so it shouldn't cause him too much trouble. But yeah, the race is flying at the moment, nearly halfway through, lap 14, and it feels like it's flown past. So let's just get a little bit more of a kind of background of the track, because this is a brilliant track for racing. As I said earlier, it's got the two configurations. It's got the unbanked oval, or the very, very little banked oval on the outside, and then there's this brilliant little road course in the middle, and it seems to be overlooked. Obviously there are a couple of guys that aren't running today because they just don't have the track. Perhaps just find tracks that they know, like a Silverstone or Spa and stuff, and even this little gem out of their kart. So it is a brilliant track, and as I said earlier, it's got the night transition as well, or the night lighting, should I say. See, in iRacing we haven't yet got the transition, the night and day transitions, although I'm sure that'll come in sometime in the future, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to it, not leastly me, because that will mean that we can get some really nice endurance races going. Perhaps like a mini Le Mans series going, because that would be brilliant. I know there's a Petit Le Mans coming up in a couple of months' time on iRacing. Probably be 2.5 hours, something like that, 2.4 hours of racing, perhaps in the Indycar. I haven't checked into it too much, around one of the Le Mans tracks, which would be a great watch. I see Jamie Byrne there. Great action kicking off now with Jaron having kind of a little look, but looks like he's managed to shrug him off. And Jamie Byrne side by side with Aaron Mullen, but backing out, and Aaron Mullen stayed in his position with Darren Cook just in the background there. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, as I said earlier, Aaron's got quite a lot of aero damage, whereas Darren, I think he's just been to the pit for a new car, so he might be able to kind of have some action now. Halfway into the race, he might be able to actually battle with someone, so that'll be enjoying for him, I think. Yeah, I love that skin on AC's car. It looks brilliant. Oh, I know he's got a custom skin, but even the default one looks very nice. The red stripes just running down the car. I'm surprised those guys around that corner just take so much grass, because it can, in this game, the grass is kind of an enemy, especially in these cars with the high curb next to it as well, and that can screw up not only your aero from kind of hitting the curbs. I know it's not too much of an issue, the curbs aren't too high, but perhaps if you just hit it wrong, you might get a little bit of aero damage. But the grass can kind of spit you up and chew you out, because it's got no grip there with these low riding IndyCar cars here. But Eric Davis there just letting Ganzavolt through, so very nice from him, and he's going to have to let AC through soon. Very, very disappointing for AC here, because he seriously had the pace. He was probably a second a lap on average quicker than Ganzavolt in practice, but perhaps he's done too many laps, because I know that's the case for me. If I do too many laps, I kind of lose my rhythm after 15 or 20 laps, and then kind of lose a couple of tenths. So perhaps he's done too much practice for this race. But that's very nice driving there from the lap driver, so that's nice to see. Also, a couple of rounds in the various series we have at ARL, there's been a few incidents with lap traffic and getting in people's way and things like that, but it looks, from what I've seen, that there's been none of that. It's been very, very clean. You'll see there's the blue flag rule. Oh, Aaron Mullen off of the track with Jamie Burns. That is not a pretty sight, and let's just get a replay of that, because that is not nice to be sitting in the gravel there. So yeah, Aaron Mullen floors it. Guy coming out of the pits, going. That is terrible driving by the 92 car. Should have just let him past. Obviously you don't have to, but that's Jody Mills. He is a kind of a pro, or he's aspiring to be a pro, but with that kind of driving, sorry mate, but there are things to do, and I'm sure you will pick that up. Obviously he's only had the game for a couple of months, perhaps only just over a month, so still learning things. He's got the lap time, but just the consistency and kind of the racecraft isn't quite there yet. But that's ruined both of their races, because they're both either going to have to pit again or kind of live with all the aero damage and all the time they'll be losing every lap. They might try and get through and then fill up the car with the petrol in the new tyres and just go for the one stopper, but still that's taken at least 20 seconds off of their time, which is not a good thing. And Kumo there just coming up on another lap car, and this is brilliant driving from him. He can't kind of praise him enough, because in practice, running first kind of 10 laps, he was well off of Iracing's pace, but he's picked up very, very quickly. Obviously, he was a pro before, as he just passes Darren now on the straight into turn 1. But yeah, he was a pro, but I think he had some issues with his kind of will and his setup and things that kind of stopped him doing that. But he's got that sorted now, and as I said, he's running in the ARL Pro team for the 2013 kind of pro drive to get into the Formula 1 cars and do some good results. And it looks like he's got it sorted, to be honest, because he's got the pace, he's got the racecraft. Obviously this is a little bit of a different car. The F1 car revs nearly twice as much higher. Obviously I think that's the Williams Toyota from 2009, I think it's the FW31, I might be wrong, so correct me if I am, but obviously that's got a lot more power, possibly less torque than the Indycars, but a lot more top end power, and obviously it's got the extra gear, so it's a totally different beast to drive. Total change in downforce and mechanical grip, but open wheels are open wheels, and you can kind of transfer your skills from one to the other, and being a pro before, I'm sure you can do it again. So it's just nice to see, because obviously, as I say, he's a pro driver, and he's displaying that, just following the same lines every single corner of every single lap, just in the groove now. I'd like to think what's going through his mind. Is he thinking about the pits, or is he just thinking totally on each and an individual corner and throttle inputs and braking? Obviously not the clutch, and the IndyCar is a semi-automatic gearbox, I believe, just the upshifts and downshifts without the use of the clutch. But that's nice to see. We see Ganzavolt, just huge gap now in second over AC, and pulling away every lap. 30 minutes left of the race here, we should get it finished. It's about a 1 minute 40 lap time, so probably about 15-20 minutes left, so we should at least have 5-10 minutes free kind of time if there are any big things that do happen. As you see Darren being lapped yet again by another car, but getting out of the way very well. And yeah, very clean race, and obviously it's a shame that there's not a full grid because of the football match, but it's nice to see these guys turn up week in, week out and do their best job. To see Aaron Mullen just get on the back of Kumo there, just to see if he can kind of drag himself around the track. See, if you're tucked up behind someone, you can not only get their draft down the straights, but you also follow their lines and braking points and turn-ins and things like that. See Aaron Mullen just getting on the power there. Obviously, as I said, 7 first gear corners, and if you get the power on too much with these very, very torquey engines, the rear wheels can spin up very, very easily. But just a little wobble, but nothing too much from him there. But AC now being let past by Darren Kirk. Can't say enough for that, Darren Kirk. I think he's only done the 1 or the 2 races in this series, but he's back. 20 minutes of practice. Perhaps his pace isn't there, but his racecraft is. Just kind of his spatial awareness is brilliant, because he's staying out of the way of everyone. As we see Guidamora there, just behind Woody, but Woody's letting pass because he's a lap down. So, as I've been saying the whole race, very, very good racing from the lap drivers. Okayama, Twin Ring Montegi, obviously only one of the 3 Japanese tracks in our race, and we've got Okayama with the 2 layouts, obviously the short and the long one. The short one we ran for the Rookie Road a couple of days ago on Thursday and Saturday. Great races there from all but the caddies, I can say, or most of the caddies in the Saturday race. Just a little bit eager It didn't cause too many collisions, but it was a bit crazy. But it's nice to have that kind of thing. Obviously, I was in the MX-5 for that race, and it's good to keep you on your toes with Oscar Hardwick and Ben Horrell and Ian Partridge, I think, raced in that one. So nice to see these guys kind of split in between all of the series, because we got Ian Partridge in this race. I think he might have retired, but at least he took part in it. Jody Mills, I believe, did a rookie road. Tim Mawson admins that race, as does for every one, I swear. And it's nice to see, because, as I say, with these guys pushing for this pro license, they're gonna kind of want any racecraft that they can get. And by going in the different racing classes, it's kind of good practice. See Woody there in the background, just getting a little bit wider. Sasa Prosen there, closing up on 4th place as he goes wide, but not too wide. Perhaps just carrying quite a lot of speed there. And sorry, that isn't 4th place. It's a 65 car of Eric Davis. So that is kind of good for him. Kind of sticking with it as Prosen there just pulls away from him. 10 laps remaining, and let's just get a little rundown of the standings here. Kumo first, 16.1 second gap there. Simpson in third, 7 or 6.9 second gap there. John Monroe, great driving from him. Obviously he's part of my kind of team, the squadron team, so praise to him. Sasa Prosen only 2 or so seconds behind, so anything can happen, as we've seen quite a lot of the guys having little twitchy moments with the rears lighting up. And Sasa Prosen, Gudamora 6th, Jamie Byrne 7th, Darren Moen 8th, Eric Davis 9th, Woodhouse 10th, Dan Kirk 11th, and now the retirees of Jody Mills. Obviously he had that incident coming out of the pits with Aaron Mullen, Ian Partridge, Russell Clayson, hope I said that right again, and that's it. Tim Mawson, as I said, race admin, and the Apex Racing League account is just what I'm using to spectate here. So these guys haven't pitted yet, and I would have thought they would have been pitting very soon, because you might as well pit while you can get new tyres and kind of get a benefit from them. If you obviously you need to pit in this race, but if you pit 2 laps from the end, then you're not going to get any benefit from the new tyres, which could help. Yeah, just going back to Jody Mills. Last night, they kind of officially said they'd signed, not Jody Mills, they signed him 2 or 3 weeks ago, but they've signed Harry Jacks, I believe, which is Noble. I think he's won 2 or 3 races on the PS3 side of the ARL in the top ranks. So obviously he's got some skills in the F1 car, and that's what the pro license is for the road. Yeah, Jaren there just passing Mullen again. Very surprised that Aaron hasn't pitted to get that rear wing sorted, because his lap time is going to be well off the pace. Probably 2 or 3 seconds off of what he was possible to do, so perhaps 3 or 4 seconds off of the leader's pace. But 8 laps remaining, you might be thinking that it's better to lose the time than to spend all that time waiting in the pits. As we finally get some action from John Monroe. Nice to see him doing so well. Did quite a solid job at last time out at Barber. I think he might have got 4th there as well. So obviously he's on the verge of the podium, and if any of these guys in front do slip up, he could perhaps do it. And with this being such a poor race for AC. Don't put it past him with getting the podium here today. So last Friday, Ben Hall, obviously, as I say, he did the rookie road, and he does a few of the others. He does the V8s as well. He hosted I think it was a 45 or 50 lap race around Watkins Glen in the F1 Cup. Obviously, that's some of these guys. That was their first attempt at the F1 Cup. Nice to see what they said about that, but most of them in the forums just saying how impressed they are with the downforce that they can get. They can basically, I think AC said around this turn 1 in the IndyCars that's first gear, but in the F1 car that's third gear, so a lot quicker, perhaps 5 or 6 seconds quicker around this particular circuit in the F1 car, because it's got so much downforce. But 7 laps remaining, and a few of the guys are starting to go into the pits, so it should be about time for these guys to start pitting. Any longer, and that's just going to be a waste in my opinion, because as I say, they're not going to get any benefit from the new tyres. Yeah, other series racing at this track, obviously, as I said earlier, the last race for the IndyCar, or the real life IndyCar, was last year on the road course. But they've also had the Wilson Cup, I believe, in the Winston Cup in 1998 was held here, in the Cup car, in the NASCAR Sprint Cup car, I believe. And that was the first ever race where Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his dad, Dale Earnhardt, kind of raced together, so that was quite a landmark race for them. And you've also got the MotoGP races here. I believe a couple of the guys have been saying that they don't really like the track in the motorbikes. Some of the top guys have been saying that they don't really like this track in the driving it on a motorbike. Not quite sure why that is, but perhaps it's these kind of really slow corners don't really suit the bikes. I'm not too sure. Obviously, ARL is more about the car race and the four-wheel racing, but kind of seems to be getting on to any kind of racing at the moment. So 5 laps remaining as he crosses the line here, and still no pit stop. Very, very strange why that's not happened, unless I'm totally wrong from the start, and they're going to try and not pit, because you don't have to pit in this series. It's just been in all of the other events, in the other 4 events leading up to this one. There has kind of been a one's pit stop mandatory for the fuel. So very good if these guys can get away with not pitting. I'm sure if they can, they will, because these are some really top drivers. Obviously, we had one of the guys do the Red Bull Challenge at Goodwood Festival. Unfortunately, didn't make it past the semi-finals, I believe. But very, very proud for ARL and himself for that event. I believe it didn't go too well for him. Obviously, we know he's a great racer, and I think he got caught up in quite a lot of collisions with some of the other drivers. So I've noticed down on the Facebook, or someone on the Facebook from using the ARL account, has posted about perhaps doing a LAN kind of party thing sometime in the future, which would be interesting, because then we could kind of we could hold some kind of mixed console battles between obviously the big 3, the PS3 the Xbox and PC, and kind of see F1s on all three platforms. We've got leagues here at ARL on all three platforms, so it'd be good to see, perhaps get the two top guys from each of the leagues, and then do a little tournament, a couple of races on each platform, and see who's got the upper hand on who. I know I've been interested in which is quicker, the PC or the console side of F1. I believe at the moment the actual lap times are coming from the PS3 side. The lap times seem to be quicker from the PS3 side. I might be wrong, but last time I looked, their quality times seem to be a tenth or so quicker than the top tier of the Xbox side. So well done to those guys. Not too much happening on the track at the moment, so let's just see the gaps between them all. There's 4 laps remaining, the last kind of sprint to the end of the race here. We've got a 28.8 second gap as we see AC has finally got the job done on Ganzavolt. I think Ganzavolt's pitted whereas AC hasn't. That can only be my assumption unless Garen Ganzavolt or Jaren Ganzavolt rather has got some aero damage or damaged his car, but it doesn't look like it, so perhaps he's underfilled it or been kind of using too much fuel compared to the guys in the lead. But he'll be disappointed with that if AC can get away with it. There's obviously only 3 laps remaining, but that is very, very interesting. You gotta love the kind of the areas that people come from to play the game, to play iRace, and we've got, as you see, Ganzavolt's from Benelux, whatever that is, Benelux, which I think is kind of Norway and Sweden, a place like that. And we got some Americans and some Australians and all sorts. We got some people from Ireland, I believe. So it's nice to kind of see a wide range of people, not just location, but also kind of age and kind of background. Because obviously some of the guys have been racing just on the PC side, whereas some of the guys have been switching over from the console onto the PC, and then through F1, kind of a progression thing, last season in F1 in season 3, and then on into iRacing. 3 laps remaining here, and I'm sure the leader has crossed onto the 2 laps to go mark. But this is nice to see, the varying pit stops. I believe that might have been the leader, Kumo, just coming out of the pits there. I'll just see if I can get a replay of that, because that would be very interesting, because that would mean he's a whole pit stop in front of every one of these drivers. And he pitted, possibly for fuel. Just see now if he gets tyres. I don't believe he got tyres, so just the fuel, and he's out in front of AC, who's yet to stop. That is the domination that Kumo's had today. And let's just jump back live. 2 laps remaining, and you can't even see AC in the background there, so that is very, very dominating performance here today. I'm just wondering, because AC hasn't pitted yet, is he going to drop behind Jaren when he pits? If he pits. 2 laps remaining, and perhaps he can kind of cruise around for the last 1/4 laps here, just in first gear without any fuel left in the tank. Kind of a Nigel Mansell moment, pushing the car across the line. first ever winner here, 1998, was Adrian Fernandez, and there's the white flag, and it looks like Sunili Kumo is going to be the first ever ARL winner here at Twin Ring Montegi Road GP circuit. As you see, AC going very, very slow there. Almost sounded like he had a rear blown diffuser going through there. Just kind of the off throttle noise going through turns 1. He doesn't look like he's pushing it whatsoever, because you can kind of judge it on the brakes. Obviously, the faster you go, the more you have to put through the brakes at each corner, and it doesn't look like they're lighting up so much as they were earlier on in the race. So perhaps he knows he's got a gap to third, so he's just taking it very, very cautiously, not needing any excellent points, which I believe he might not have got, and get the 2 bonus points for that, and no penalty points, and that obviously making the best out of a bad situation for him here. And let's just see if we can get him on board now with the race leader as he comes through the last kind of section here, the right, left, right, left, right, I believe. If I can choose the right angle here. Cockpit, there we go. And powers out, first gear, shifting through the gears. No need to push it. And that's a 1 minute 38.6. As it was an astonishing lap. Obviously he's only recently pitted, but that is an astonishing lap after that many laps, after 30 laps, to be setting lap times some of the guys were doing in qualifying. And it didn't look like he was pushing it too much as they cool down now. Let's just see if there's any action on track. It doesn't look like there is at the moment. Gudamura here, 4th. Perhaps too far away from the guy in front to pass, but he's caught him a lot through that braking. Put him very wide through under the bridge there, and taking that as straight as possible. It's like Le Mans, that kind of go on a straight line, it, chicane it, and then boot it onto the straight, and that's his race finished. And let's just see, Darren's in the pits. Woodhouse is still on track. I believe he's already finished. It doesn't look like he's going too quick. Last lap for him was a 1 minute 42, so you can see there's a over 4 second gap between the 9th place's last lap and the leaders. You can see the varying lines they take. Kumo took a very much wider line and kind of straight lined that a lot more, as you see, where he just a little bit of loss of traction coming out of the last turn. You see he powers down towards the line to finish his race in 9th, and I believe that is the race over. I think that's everyone that's finished now. As Kumo comes through these last set of corners again into the kind of the Spa kind of pit entrance with the right, left. It's like a Eau Rouge kind of pit entrance, a very, very slow Eau Rouge, but it's quite a nice pit entrance. Obviously that wouldn't be any good for real life F1, because there wouldn't be any overtaking coming in there, which I'm sure most of you guys like. But just having a little couple burnouts in the pit lane, and he's out of that. Great race from him, leading every single race with only an 8.6 second gap, so it hasn't worked out too bad for Simpson there. Saying the whole race that he wasn't doing so well, but only a 8.5 second gap, so that's very, very good for him, with Ganzervelt in 3rd, 20 seconds down, and Gudamora 4th, 52 seconds, and Sasaprosen 5th, 54.9 seconds down, with the lap cars of John Munro, Alan Mullen, Eric Davis, Andrew Woodhouse, Jamie Burns, and Darren Cook, with Jody Mills, Ian Partridge, Russell Cleason not finishing. So interesting race here from Twin Ring Montegi. and we'll see you next time.